Welcome to Retro Gubbins. This time, getting hot and sweaty looking at old tech. So, welcome back. This is my loft, or attic if you're that way inclined. After the vote I did on Twitter where you decided what you wanted to see next, apparently you wanted me to clamber around on the hottest day of the year up here, which is why I'm very pink. I'm very hot, and I'm not going to do a long intro, so let's have a look around the loft. Okay, so there's obviously some things up here, like a handful of PlayStations that I know are up here because I've only just bought those and put them up here. There are some boxes over to the other end that I've no idea what's in them. I can't remember, they've been there for that long. But we'll start at this end and see what we've got. First things first, we've got two rather different shades of grey PlayStations. I picked these up recently in a job lot. I've not tried them yet. One's obviously the older one with the parallel port, which is handy if I want to get an SD card reader. I think somewhere, possibly in another one of these boxes, I have another PlayStation, but we'll find out shortly. The other recent purchase, oh god, which way is it on? Was this rather awesome Amstrad. That's slightly wonky. Yeah, that's steady. There we go. So it's a PPC512 with a rather awful LCD screen, and I can see there's a crack in this ribbon cable, so we'll see how well any of this works at some point. This will be a future project. I've not even tried to power this on or anything yet. I don't have a power adapter nor the right batteries, so it's quite nice. So it's a bit grubby, a bit yellow. I think what I'll do, just for fun, because I've not tried it before, is at some point I'll try retrobrighting this, because I've got no attachment as such to it. It came up stupidly cheap nearby, so I'll give it a go, see if I can make it look slightly less tobacco coloured, but it is awesome. It is very heavy. Oh god. Right, got a slightly mucky Dreamcast, which I may clean up and take downstairs because my one has died recently. When I was doing a games night at work, the laser went. Got a pair of equally mucky, oh dear, look at that one, equally mucky C64, god that is really awful, look at that one, that is terrible, cassette drives. I'm piling these up actually on that other box, but that is the polys for a Spectrum. There's nothing actually in there, so a rather broken looking Amiga 500 power supply. I'm not quite sure whether I'll even bother trying that. And the same goes for this C64 power supply. Now this came, and you'll see them in a minute, with a couple of C64s, one of which had several dead parts inside. And I've got a feeling this power supply zapped it at some point. So that is just a paperweight now. I'm never going to plug that into anything. All the stuff in here, there's a few sealed Windows NT, Windows 95, 98, and lots of Microsoft type things. Sealed XP, 2000, and another NT workstation pack. And a load of random RAM. So nothing very retro there. I think we need to move on to a better box. So let me just readjust the camera, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, moving along slightly, I have a random NES cartridge. I don't own a NES, so that just came with a bunch of things. What I think is not going to be the last Spectrum you'll see up here. This one came with the PlayStations and stuff that I bought recently, completely untested. It is a Samsung one, so I expect the keyboard probably still works on this one. Seems in reasonable nick, bar some dirt, so I'll try that at one point. It does have a broken ear socket, so I can't load anything off tape, so I'll have to plug the Div MMC Future in there, give that a whirl. And he also threw in a random DS thing. I'm not a Nintendo man. I'll try it at some point if I find a power supply. The main thing that's been up here for a while, as you can see from the dust, I'll pull this off. Come on. Oh, that's one for chinny vision. It's an Amstrad PC1640DD. 2 floppy disk drives and what should be an EGA monitor, but it's broken. So what I've actually done for now is put an old VGA card in it so I can run any monitor on there. And it does actually work, it boots up. I got this from a closed down barber's shop near here, and it used to run the company. So there's it's got Gem on there and a few bits and pieces for invoices and things like that that obviously helped the guy run the barber shop. Didn't come with any floppy disks, and I think that's where probably a lot of his appointment stuff was, because there wasn't much else on the hard disk. I think there's Arkanoid on there, so it obviously wasn't that busy, which might explain why he closed down. So yeah, it's a nice little beastie. Now these are the 2 C64s that I bought recently. Cosmetically, apart from dirt, they're not actually too bad. There's no cracks or bad gouges or anything on there. One of these, as far as I'm aware, does work fine. I've plugged it in, can't remember which one it is now, it's probably the dirtier one. The other one, as I said earlier, has been zapped. It had a completely silent SID in there and a couple of other broken things. I think one of the ports on the back is dead, so yeah, it's out of life, that one. I basically picked these up to steal parts to fix my much nicer condition C that I've got downstairs, which is now fully working now. I've nicked a few parts, so I think from these two I could probably make one, bar the SID, because neither of these now has a working SID, but I could make a working machine out of these. So yeah, I mean this one, is very grubby. Don't know where they've been. And this is my Dragon, which came as a job lot a few years ago now, of machines that were literally a barn find. They had been left in a barn, unprotected. They were covered in hay and dirt and all kinds. I'll try and find a picture to insert here of what this looked like when I got it, but it cleaned up rather well. I'm missing a couple of keys, although you can actually still press them. I just need to rig up a power supply and give this one a go, but it is in reasonable nick considering it lived in a barn. So yeah, never had a go on one of these, so interesting to try at some point. Under here there's a Novex monitor. I'll see if I can turn it around. So yeah, this was sold as a C64 monitor, which it isn't really, obviously. It's just a monitor that takes composite and RGB. The RGB I was told doesn't work, but I haven't got a cable for it either, so I can't tell. The composite does. I've had a C64 on it, but it only works with the brightness on full. So I guess there's a cap gone bad in there somewhere, which is a shame because it's a lovely monitor. Reminds me a bit of the MicroVTech Cub monitors, in that it weighs a ton and is all completely metal chassis and surround. Has a nice fittingly 80s brown and beige colour scheme, so it does go with the C64 rather well. I'm going to move the camera again, we'll move along the row. Okay, we're nearly at the mystery boxes now. There's just a few things in the way. First off is this Acorn A3010 with its brilliantly 90s sticker across the top. I've been after one of these machines for absolutely ages, and I did buy this as faulty, so it's my own fault. But it has a RAM control fault somewhere on the board. Now that could be that the CMOS chip has died, and you can replace them, so that'll be something I will try at some point. I did try adding an 8 meg RAM upgrade, because that disables the onboard RAM in case it was an actual RAM fault and not the controller, but it's still dead. So when I do fix it, it's got 8 meg of RAM. It should be a nice machine, but yeah, at some point I do need to get around to having a poke about inside and trying a few things. But yeah, one of my friends at school had one of these. He was the only person outside of school with an Archimedes, or A30, and it's quite nostalgic. I used to play games around his house on this, so it was a great machine. There's a stack of broken cassette recorders here. Mainly, you know, they come with Spectrums and stuff all the time, and they just end up in a pile up here. That one does work, but then stops working. So you can load a couple of things and then that's it for the day. So I don't know what's up with that. I've also got this rather strange Spanish Ibeco, or Ibeco printer, which is kind of like a daisy wheel, although it's like a daisy cylinder, but a lot of the symbols have fallen off because the rubber's rotted over the years. Again, this just came with a Spectrum, so it's ended up here. I don't know if it's repairable. I don't know if you can get the cylinders, but it's here for either parts or fixing if I suddenly get the urge to do so. Rather randomly, a charity shop find from a while ago, a USB keyboard, roll-up keyboard. I don't know why I bought that. Down the back here, why is everything heavy? This is a Microcontroller Dev Kit, which was given to me by a guy at work because he was clearing his loft out, and it's never actually been used. Oops. It's all still in here with, I mean, that is all manuals back there. There's like 8 inches of manuals. It's beyond me, it really is. There you go. It's a little Pickstart programmer. I don't even know what's in there. Oh, look at that. There's a couple of chips to get you going. I'll probably never use it, but I couldn't let him throw it out. So it's now in my loft instead of his. Okay, the first of the mystery boxes. So I've not been in here for absolutely ages. And there's a surprise, Spectrum stuff. So straight off the bat, we've got a very broken looking Spectrum and a very broken looking joystick interface to go with it. Oh, it's fine, it's been serviced, I'm sure it'll be fine. There's a board in there. Wii stand. Oh, a ZX81 in not bad nick actually. Yeah. Oh look, PlayStation. Oh look, a broken PlayStation. Oh, there we go. So yeah, we've got one of those knocking about. I knew there'd be another one around here somewhere. In fact, I think I can see another in the bottom. Next up, oops, are 2 boards I rescued from the tip, mainly for parts. They're out of Amstrad word processors. Can't remember which one's which. Probably says on there somewhere. But mainly it's a handy set of spare RAM, Z8T. That one's socketed, which is very handy. Same on here. This one's a bit corroded. But yeah, plenty of spares, and also handy for soldering practice if nothing else. The machines they were in were terribly scabby and dirty. They'd obviously been there for a while. Oh, hello. Let's move this out of the way. Oh, an Amiga external drive. Funnily enough, I just mentioned on Twitter that mine had gone and died. So, excellent. I'll take that downstairs. See if that works. Oh god. Look at that. Okay, that's a toast rack Spectrum that I didn't know I had. As you do. It's in quite good nick as well. Yeah, I did not know that was even up here. That's not the thing you kind of forget you've got, but there you go. I've got one downstairs set up, so I kind of don't need this anyway, but it's handy to know I've got a spare one. I've got 3 of these. These are the drives out of the Amstrad machines that I rescued the boards out of. So I've got some spare 3-inch drives there. There's a grey, well, beige, and a black one. Oh, 2 black ones. So they were obviously off the machine that was a dual drive machine. But yeah, that's a handy set of spares there. Oh yeah, God. Picked these up a while ago. They're just in-car DVD screens. The idea was to do some kind of project with them, connecting a Speccy up to them. But I never got around to it, and I'd forgotten I'd kind of abandoned it up here. Maybe I'll do something with them. Oh no, this is interesting. This is a test kit for the Amstrad 1640. You basically plug this in one of the ISA slots and set the switches according to what you want to test. And there's a bunch of connectors in here that you plug into the various ports for testing out all the workings and the gubbins, and you get status lights on here to say whether it's working or not. I bought that when I didn't know what was up with the Amstrad, and then it turned out it was just the monitor was dead. So I don't think I actually got around to using this. Oh, key off Commodore. Oh, apparently because, oh god, I've got a bag full of C64 keys. Yeah, I'll put all this back. Let's have a look in the other box. Okay, so on top of the last box, we've got this Amstrad, I think it's a PC16, I think it's called, which is, it's a glorified word processor really. It does have quite a nice GUI in ROM, so it just boots straight up into this almost gem-like GUI. It's kind of nice. Unfortunately I don't have a keyboard for it, so it boots up and everything, I just can't do anything. The keyboards are a bit of a pain in the bum to find, so I never got around to doing anything with that. So I'll just hoik it out the way. Go. Let's have a look in the box. Spectrum again. Oh. Right, so, well, first up is my Plus 2A. Yep, that's well and truly held together. This one's got a broken tape deck, I know that, because I swapped it out for the tape deck in the machine I sent to Octavius, because the machine was in better nick but the tape deck was dead, so this is kind of my parts machine that I've got left with. I've got my toast rack set up downstairs, so I don't need to have this really downstairs. Prior to that, this was the one I used all the time till I got the toast rack in a deal I couldn't pass up on. You may have seen over behind me at the intro the box for this. Oops. It's a third-party keyboard for the Spectrum, and I believe the ZX81 as well. Got some really nice keys. I do like it. I've restored this cosmetically a while ago. There's a sticker missing there, but yeah, it's a metal topped keyboard. Unfortunately, the bottom's the flimsiest plastic in the world, but this has got a 48K machine in it, but I've not managed to connect it up yet because the ribbon cables are an absolute travesty. I have actually just ordered off I nearly said Tinder then, not Tinder, Etsy? Tindy. Some PCB ends for this, so I can solder the wires directly to that and then they just plug in to the board, so I should be able to get this working pretty soon. Can't remember if the machine in here actually works. I've just noticed on the side here I've got a spare Z80, so I'm guessing maybe it didn't work, and that was the next thing to try, but it's that long ago since I looked here, I've forgotten what I was doing with it. But either way, once those parts turn up off Tindy, that just sounds wrong, is that right? I don't know. I'll try and get this working, because the keys are really nice on this and it just looks ace, it really does. So looking forward to giving that one a go. Another Spectrum. This time it's my +3. This does work fine. I just stopped using it once I got the toast rack, because I stopped using discs. That was basically why. I think as well this one doesn't have the broken sound that a lot of the +3s had. So this does all work and everything, so at some point maybe I'll get one of each of the machines out, clean them up and hang them on the wall or something like that. But yeah, that's in there. Oh, another Spectrum. I really had forgotten how many of these damn things I've got. Yeah, I think this one is what's out of the polys that were at the end of the row. So I think this one works as well. It's just the all the white on the keys is very yellow, which is why this probably came up here, because I had a better one hanging around. Although rainbow badge is in surprisingly good nick. So at some point I should open these and see which revision the boards are, see if there's anything interesting in there. This one doesn't have a serial number sticker, it's fallen off, so although it's proudly made in the UK, so it's not a Samsung one. So yeah, interesting, see what's in there at some point. Oh god, there's more down here. Okay, this is yet another third-party keyboard for the Spectrum. This is a Saga Elite 3. It's got reasonably nice keys. They're a bit dead feeling, but they do kind of click. Now this, I can't even remember where I got this, but it doesn't work, as with most of the things I've picked up. There isn't a board in here at the minute because I took it out, but it doesn't work because a load of the carbon pads on the back of the keys have disintegrated and walked away, and they're a strange spiral, almost like a spring. So it's very hard to find something that'll work just as well. So at some point I may kind of take this whole thing apart and see if I can find something I can use on the back of each key, because it's quite a funky looking keyboard really. This like shortcut keys to run and list and continue, load and save, things like that, so it is kind of nice. I really want to have a go at it. It has a nice slot up there for your Cinevision pen, or your Future was 8-bit pen, and bar a bit of grub, it's really nice. It's not got any holes or knocks, so I really would like to get that one working. Otherwise I'll just clean it and hang it on the wall because it looks cool. At first glance, I do remember I had this now, because it confused me when I got it. This came in the job lot with my other toast rack, and I thought I was getting two toast racks, obviously minus the rack, But if I turn this round, you'll notice none of the holes line up with the labels, and that's because the base is a 48K, and for some reason has a 128K keyboard on top. I've no idea why. I don't know whether someone broke theirs and had it hanging around, although I can't see that really. But yeah, again, it's gone quite yellow on the keys, which is a shame, and someone's tried to... looks like it's gone rusty behind the paint on the rainbow. But yeah, God knows why that's in two pieces. I've not seen one with a blue serial number before. What I am going to do while I'm here is steal one of the rubber feet, because my toast rack is missing a rubber foot. So I'm going to take that downstairs with me. So there you go, it's handy to keep them. What's in here now is an absolute truckload of specky power supplies. So yeah, there's not much interesting in there, bar one, which I'll pull out now. Just set the camera back down. Which is this thing. Now, there you go. It is a Spectrum Plus power supply underneath, but with this fucking enormous heatsink screwed to the top, and I mean screwed to the top. It's properly. They've had a big think about doing this. I do remember opening this when I got it to find out what the hell was going on. What they've done is taken the diodes off the board inside here, which I believe are what's used to rectify the voltage or the current, and they've put an all-in-one rectifier on this massive heatsink on the outside, presumably to get a more stable voltage. I don't know why, I don't know what they were running off the back of their Spectrum that needed that. It does work. I plugged it in, and probably rather foolishly plugged it into one of my speckies, and it did work fine. So yeah, someone obviously needed it, but yeah, it's a bit of an oddity that. I've never seen anything like it. So, I think the rest of these are just more... Oh, there's the power supply for the toast rack, which you can tell from, has this vented's the wrong word, I don't know, ridged side to the power supply. Other than that, it looks much like the normal Plus power supply. And a carrier bag with more power supplies in. So yeah, I think that's what's in there. So I've made a bit of a mess. I'll have to tidy up now. These are the boxes you saw at the beginning. So I've got my Plus box there, PSP, my lovely Vectrex box. I do like that. Can you hear that wood pigeon? It's taunting me. My C64C and A1200 box, my QL and Saturn box for the Acorn. There's the keyboard box, PS3, GX4000, and then my plotter that I picked up. I can't remember where I got that from. It just looks cool. It's in my games room. I've never used it. I've actually bought some new pens from California to give it a try, but I've not got around to it yet. So yeah, that's where I am. I've just broken my tripod, so I think that's probably where I'm going to leave it. Right, I think that's it then. I'm absolutely sweating cobs. It's so hot up here. I've made an absolute tip of my loft, which I'm going to have to clean up now before I go downstairs. I've got a wood pigeon shouting at me, and I've got a neighbour doing DIY rather loudly. Hope you like seeing what was up here hiding in the loft, and I'll see you soon.